Cadillac will be the new name on the grid next season. Fresh paint, new badge, and plenty of hype. But beneath the gloss lies the question everyone in the paddock is whispering. Can this actually work? Because let's be brutally honest here, Formula One is ruthless. This could either be America's greatest racing moment since Talladega Nights, or it could be another Haas. Today, we're taking a deep dive into 3 shocking reasons Cadillac signed Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez.
That was mega!
Cadillac's future in Formula One doesn't depend on their shiny new Ferrari power unit, their wind tunnel data, or even the endless corporate PR jargon about synergy. Nope. Their success in 2026 rests squarely on 2 men who will either drag this thing into relevance or doom it to failure: Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas. And yes, I can already hear you groaning. Perez? Bottas? Really? But listen, the choice is more calculated than you think, and it might just be Cadillac's only play in a sport that eats rookies and spits out manufacturers for breakfast. But with a host of top drivers linked to these premium seats, what tipped the balance for the Mexican and the Finn to get the nod from team boss Graham Loudon? Who did they beat out? And most importantly, does this driver lineup give Cadillac any shot at survival in the shark tank that is Formula One? Setting the scene, Cadillac's grand entry. Now, before we get into the drivers, let's set the stage. Cadillac is not just showing up to F1 for the memes. This is General Motors partnership with TWG Global Andretti Global's big chance to flex its muscles on the world stage. Think about it. You've got Ford backing Red Bull powertrains, Audi buying into Sauber, and now GM with Cadillac, an American icon. Suddenly F1 looks like Detroit decided to enter the Hunger Games. And leading Cadillac is team principal Graham Loudon, a man with deep experience in motorsport, but also someone stepping into arguably the toughest job in racing, launching a brand new Formula One team in the cost cap era, while competing against Red Bull, McLaren and Ferrari. Graham had a decision to make, and in F1, that first driver lineup is absolutely critical. It sets the tone, it defines the culture, and it tells the world exactly how serious you are. Why Perez matters more than you want to admit. Let's start with Sergio Perez, Mexico's hero, the king of tyre management, and a driver who has lived the dream and nightmare of being Max Verstappen's teammate at Red Bull. The man's career has been a roller coaster of the highest highs and the deepest lows. One weekend, he looks like a world beater. The next, he's a rolling chicane for Max on any given Sunday. But here's the dirty little secret about Checo. He brings something Cadillac desperately needs in their debut season: credibility. This is a man who survived more than a decade in Formula One. Think about that for a second. F1 isn't kind. Careers are short, brutal, and usually end in the shadows of someone else's success. Yet Perez has remained, carving out a reputation as one of the most reliable pair of hands on the grid. And after finally getting a move to a top team with Red Bull Racing in 2021, he soon added to his victory tally, making a name for himself as king of the streets as he notched up wins on some of F1's most challenging tracks in Singapore, Baku and Saudi Arabia, not to mention victory in Grand Prix's most prestigious event, Monaco. Now, is he elite? Let's not kid ourselves. Checo is not beating Verstappen, Hamilton or Leclerc in equal machinery. But when Cadillac enters the chaos of 2026, with new regs, a fresh power unit and zero track record, what they need isn't a golden boy. They need stability. They need someone who knows how to drag a car that doesn't deserve points into points anyway. And for that, Perez is your man. Let's not forget his Mexican backing either. Cadillac are tapping into one of the most passionate fan bases in F1. After a year out of racing, his home supporters are sure to give him a huge welcome when he arrives at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Cadillac colours. Formula One is a global sport, but the North American market is where the money lives. Cadillac wants eyeballs. They want sponsors. They want fans waving their flag in Austin and Mexico City. Perez doesn't just bring experience, he brings an entire fan base. For a brand new team, that's priceless. Now, if you're enjoying this breakdown of Cadillac's driver choices, please tap that like button and don't forget to subscribe, because we've got more crazy F1 takes coming your way every single week. Right, back to the action. Bottas, the perfect number 2 again. Now, onto Valtteri Bottas. Oh, Valtteri, the man who has made a career out of being the ultimate wingman, the after you Lewis specialist, the guy who spent half a decade letting the world know he can win a race, but never quite the war. And that's exactly why Cadillac need him. Look, Bottas is not a superstar. He will never be remembered as an all-time great. But here's what he is: consistent, fast enough, and battle-hardened. This is a man who spent years in the pressure cooker of Mercedes alongside Hamilton, absorbing what it takes to run at the front. Did he win titles? No. Did he learn more than almost any other driver on this grid about how to manage a top-team environment? Absolutely. When you're building a Formula One project from scratch, you don't want rookies fumbling their way through setup meetings or panicking under pressure. You want someone who can look an engineer dead in the eye and say, "This isn't working. Change it." Bottas has that gravitas. And make no mistake, teams listen to him. Bottas ended up with a total of 10 Grand Prix victories from his time with Mercedes and helped the team win the Constructors' Championship in every single one of his 5 seasons with the Silver Arrows. The other thing Bottas brings: no drama. Cadillac cannot afford ego wars in year one. They don't need 2 lions fighting for dominance while the car struggles to make Q2. Bottas is the kind of driver who will put his head down, deliver the data, and quietly snag points when the opportunity arises. In short, he's boring, but he's exactly the kind of boring Cadillac need. The alternatives were never the answer. Now, before you complain, let's talk about the alternatives. Because yes, Cadillac could have gone hunting for sexier names. They could have rolled the dice on a young superstar, or even tempted someone like Daniel Ricciardo for the PR boost. But would that really work? Imagine throwing a rookie into Cadillac's maiden season. The kid would be eaten alive. The car will not be fast out of the box. It never is. And young drivers don't just need speed, they need a stable platform to grow. Cadillac can't provide that in year one. They'd ruin someone's career before it even started. What about an Alonso? Or even a shock Hamilton move? Fun to dream about, but fantasy. These guys want competitive cars, podiums and wins. They're not here to babysit a brand new team finding its feet. Even Sebastian Vettel was rumoured. Yep, the 4-time F1 champion. But he's happily retired gardening and saving bees. So when you strip away the hype, you're left with Perez and Bottas, 2 veterans who won't light the world on fire, but will quietly give Cadillac the best chance of not embarrassing themselves in 2026. Cadillac's big gamble. And make no mistake, this is a gamble. Formula One doesn't forgive failure. If Cadillac come in and flop, if they spend 3 seasons battling at the back with Alpine and Sauber, the headlines will write themselves. American giant humiliated. That's the reality of the sport. But with Perez and Bottas, Cadillac have hedged their bets. They've bought themselves experience, fan bases and credibility. They've bought themselves breathing room. And in year one, that's all you can ask for. Because let's be brutally honest here, Cadillac will not win races in 2026. They won't be fighting for titles. The best case scenario is the occasional points finish, the odd highlight reel moment, and a foundation to build on for the future. Perez and Bottas won't carry Cadillac to glory, but they will keep the team afloat long enough for the project to either evolve into something meaningful or collapse under its own weight. And there it is, plain and simple. Cadillac's fate in Formula One won't be decided in the boardroom or the wind tunnel. It'll be decided by two drivers who've spent their entire careers proving they belong, even when the world doubted them. Perez will bring the passion, the fan base, and the underdog grit. Bottas will bring the experience, the calm, and the quiet reliability. Together, they're Cadillac's insurance policy against humiliation. But let's not sugarcoat this. If these two fail, if Perez crumbles under pressure, if Bottas fades into irrelevance, Cadillac are finished before they even begin. Because Formula One doesn't care about history. It doesn't care about brands. It only cares about results.